Good morning and welcome to Wake and Wellness. Today we have an amazing episode. It has been a little bit since I've done an episode with me actually on camera, and so I am excited and ready to get all of this energy out and really a lot of the topics out that I've been waiting to talk about, and I found a way. It really came to me, we're all about downloads. I allowed it to come to me what this episode was, like always, and it is going to be able to allow me to interlace a lot of things. I actually don't have to do any of the interlacing. It's already that kind of way. It's just I was able to synthesize the information in a way that I think is going to be very meaningful for you guys. And so I'm excited to get into it. So let's do so. Today, we're going to talk about Life Path, and we've done this already with an exact episode called Life Path. So, this is going to pretty much be Life Path Part 2. And we also had an episode of Life Path, specifically Life Path number 8, since that's my Life Path number. And in this episode, though, I want to give you guys a nice, smooth breakdown about Life Path. What is it? The importance of it, and how we can actually tap into it. As always, for our number one purpose here is so we can tap into abundance and create the lives that we truly desire to. So, the breakdown that we're going to go through is going to start at Life Path, and then we're going to go down into control dramas and what control dramas are and their importance. From there, disciplines and our choice of work path, whether that be the choice that we make in a consciously and subconsciously, choosing a job that we have been sort of conditioned to take or believe that is right for us, and then figuring out whether or not that actually merges with who we are. And so under there, then we're going to go into self authentication and being authentic, and as we've already hit on, and integrity. So that's just going to be a brief walkthrough for you guys, but self and how being authentic actually is the key to walking this life path, and actually life path is authenticity. So we're going to wrap all that into one another, and really what I believe gave me the urge to do this episode and sent me that inspiration was I recently watched, I just got Gaia TV, thank God. Like, I've been watching stuff from them, but I finally got it, and it's been awesome. And I now have a goal to get my new show that I'm making, and it's in the making now, into the universe onto Gaia TV. So that's my next big goal. And I was watching and looking for sort of shows to replicate, and how they get the information out, and how they, how they show it, how they make you feel related to it, how they interview other people, or whether or not they're just the host and they go through it. So I watched a few, and one that I really, really enjoy is Open Minds, and that is with Regina Meredith, who is the host of it. And she did an episode with Tiffany Barsati of Heal and Thrive, and it was, I love their conversation. I love their energy and their interaction. I love Regina Meredith as a host. She does a great job with allowing the guests to really tell you who they are, how they got into the path, and actually allows them to do the explaining through the show. And she just helps and guides and directs. And when I say just, I don't mean just, does it in such a synchronistic and beautiful way that the guest is so fluidic in nature, and it's a very good interaction and transaction of how energy really works when it is fluid and in proper communication. And so watching Open Minds again on Gaia TV with Regina Meredith, and specifically this episode with Tiffany Barsati, was awesome. And I love what Tiffany Barsati said in Life Path. And so I just had made the connection before making this episode. And what she said was, and I believe this is like many people, but it's specifically with healers. She said she met someone, it was like an intuitive or like a psychic or somebody like that. And she met them, and they said to her, a healer. They said to her that you are meant to be a healer. And she said to them, and she said that her internal dialogue was, no, I'm a business person. I'm meant to be, what was the word that she said? I'm ambitious. I am prosperous. Like these things that we all in a cultural setting quickly attune to the business person or the business persona and archetype within society. And also in that revealing how we see the spiritualist as not really having enough in terms of financial. So maybe you're all good on the emotions and the spiritual, but you're not going to be financially wealthy. You are not going to have the things that it seems only comes with being a business person. So that was an amazing thing that I love that she put out in the forefront and made it very obvious for us to, if we're aware, if we're aware, then we can see how obvious it was that she had the mindset of, like, again, specifically many healers. No, I'm not a healer, and not only am I not a healer, I'm a person that gets to the money. I'm about my business and I handle it, and I have much bigger ambitions than healing, which is wild. That is the business oriented, driven. I'm just gonna say, as an example, like the Wall Street type, like I'm straight to the money, the numbers, like, and that's the cultural dynamic and opinion and viewpoint and perspective that we have, and mindset that we have in a negative sense, because also, who is it to say that those same people or that same Wall Street type of persona is not actually spiritual and actually comes into what they come into because they are spiritual and they are in tune with what is. And I had this thought today, and so I want to define to me what spirituality is, and when we use that word, what it is. That word means of life. It is life. Spiritual, it is the essence of what is, and what is that? That is life. That is vitality. And so really it's love, and we could break that down to how it is, but we're not going to get down to the exact source of it. I'm just saying that so that we can actually understand what it means to be spiritual. Many people think that being spiritual has some kind of, you gotta practice this kind of ritual, or it gets put in a sort of another negative viewpoint of like some kind of like witchcraft, dark arts, or something to that effect. Well, no, being spiritual means being in tune with life itself, and we all have our own ways of doing that. And so it's important in recognizing that. And I liked what Regina Meredith said. I started all the way at episode 1 to see the growth of the episode that I first watched with Tiffany Barsati, which was like season maybe 8 or 9. It's like 15 or maybe 24 seasons and 500 episodes. I went back to episode 1, and at the end of it, she said, it is our duty and our responsibility to honor each other's viewpoints. That does not mean that you have to accept and agree, but it is our responsibility to honor other people's viewpoints and allow them to express in how they do perceive. And I think that's very important, especially when we are talking all the elements that we were talking in that Gaia TV and Open Mind specifically focuses on, but Gaia TV as well, human origin. Who are we? What are we? How were we created? And how are we able to put that all in a cohesive timeline, not one that is explained by physics in one way and psychology in another way, and the historians in another way, and then mathematically another way, but all on one succinct timeline so that we can all actually get in tune and do what we are meant to do. And that is so important. And I am grateful to these teachers, these masters, the ascended masters that are really giving us the energy, giving us the information, and giving us the ability to process it and be succinct, be in synchron and and be in, or have synchronicity and be synchronized with them in a way that we can distill this knowledge that at one time we were not able to, or it was so readily dismissed. I just talked to an old friend, and it made me realize I've been doing this for 10, 12 years. like, and plus actually, but I'll say 12 years in a conscious way of knowing I have been awakened and this is what I'm supposed to be doing, even if I don't understand some of these concepts. And when I look back at it today, I say, man, I really wanted to start this 10 years ago. I wanted to be like Teal, the spiritual catalyst. I wanted to have a spirit science. I wanted to be like Infinite Waters. I wanted to be like Head. I wanted to be like these spiritual, when I say personalities, I'm not taking away from them as a soul, but these spiritual personalities that were creating these very necessary archetypes for the way they are pillars. When I say spirit, when I use personalities and archetypes, pillars, and what is really a galactic occurrence and on Earth for us to actually start opening up the wisdom that we are meant to, that we already possess, that is already within the Akashic Records, Maktub, which is already written, but we have not exactly opened ourselves up and or gained enough energy for us to access these records in a meaningful way, because it's been many times when many of us have accessed these records, the blank books, which then become filled with writing all about of self. And we do understand, we do see these things, but they may have just come in what seemed like well, that was just a trip. That was just a nice, really nice trip, and I just felt really good and warm and fuzzy inside. But that's all it was. Or it was just an NDE. It just, I really didn't see my loved one, and it really didn't tell me that it wasn't my time. That was just, a way that the brain was making sense of telling me that I needed to come back and that I was about to be brought out, like a dream, dismissing these what we call. I don't want to say dream is a paraphenomenon, but these paraphenomenon are esoteric phenomena, these phenomena which we are not giving their proper credit. We are not saying that the internal occurrences and experiences are just as valid, if not more valid, than what has happened externally. Because we see a car go past, we believe that to be more real than we believe that our heart has opened when we have done something such as accept or forgive, and now that has given us access to a source power. Now it's flowing through our body. Why is that so much harder to believe than, oh, that car just went past, or somebody just called me, now I feel like this, whether good or bad? It's only because we do not have an inner understanding, or we do not have an inner vision. We have not worked on and done techniques such as meditating. We have not done things such as sound therapy, consciously, because a lot of us do play our favorite music and get in tune with that mode, but consciously saying, I'm not in a good mood right now, instead of playing my emo stuff, let me play my uplifting. Or I am not feeling like I need to, let me play my emo stuff so that I can actually let go and allow the dam to open up. These are all things that are very pivotal when we are talking about getting in tune with self. And I can go on for years on all of that. And so I want to just go back into what we were first hitting on, and that's why I did like that episode with Tiffany Barsadi, hosted by Regina. It was just amazing to hear that from Tiffany, and her saying that I'm not a healer. It just, when you are a healer, or when you're in any profession, if you hear an artist say that, and you are an artist, or a scientist say that, whatever it is, and you hear that and you feel that and it reflects within, again, if you have an inner understanding and inner awareness, then when that happens, you will be cognizant and able to recognize that spoke to you. That's not just some kind of saying, that is an actual occurrence and phenomenon that this is speaking to you, and your ability to recognize that is going to give you the energy and the inspiration and the power, the determination and the courage to act on that. And that is actually how change happens. And that is also the inner transfiguration. This is all, and that ties back into alchemy. Our life path, we are now transmuting from lower vibration to higher vibration through awareness. This is why that's the number one tool that I always talk to you guys about. And I love that. Same friend yesterday, she mentioned, I love what you're doing. I love the consistency. And she made me go back through my pages and look at the consistency. And I was just happy because I've been doing them as downloads. If someone were to ask, how are you going through the topics that you're going, how do you choose and talk on these things? Well, I get the download, and then I just say I need to go do it. Even when I think this episode almost not didn't get done because I was saying, should I go do it in the park, or maybe I should just go play basketball? And then something just said, you know, you need to do this, do this. And I've been wanting to do this episode for I don't know how long. I've written this episode months ago, years ago, and doing the synthesis of James Redfield, The Celestine Prophecy, which I'm going to go into, which is about control dramas. I've been thinking about this for so long. So pulling that together and being able to now distill it is a benefit. This ties back into the loose thread, is a benefit of me taking that extra 8 years, 9 years after First Awakening and actually now being able to synthesize the energy or the information because I have lived it that whole time. At the beginning of my process of awakening, and I had these things happen, I was just trying to prove that it actually was an occurrence. And that is actually something that I just learned right now as I'm talking to you guys in a whole nother light. And it gives me clarity because I, time after time, wonder why I didn't finish my first book journey. And I always said I didn't understand the end. I did not know the end because I thought awakening was the end. Awakening is the beginning of what you are really, of your dharma. Once you wake up, you're like, oh man, I got a whole new life. And not only do I have a whole new life, I have a whole new responsibility to that life to actually fulfill what I am meant to fulfill at every waking moment. And that does not mean run yourself into the ground every minute that you have. What that actually means is be cognizant, be aware, and when you get your downloads, act on your downloads. Do not sit there and distract yourself because you think, oh, I have time, or that's just too much of a challenge. Whatever your downloads are, you need to make sure that you get them, you work through them, you process them, and you get to action and making those plans because the downloads are the steps for you to actually walk. And actually, not just walk, you're carving your life path through understanding and receiving, accepting what you receive as you have asked for it, whether in this lifetime or the one previous. We going there. We got some good stuff for you guys. So